Hey guys, Shaba TLK back here with another video on our exploration and analysis of this very wonderful Lion King 2 script. In the last video, as we went through We Are One, again, anything that you might be confused about in the future, just make sure you watch previous videos and it should all be explained. If not, always feel free to ask in the comments, and as always, feel free to in the comment section, voice any interesting things you thought were cool, or anything in the script that you thought should be mentioned. Always love to talk to people about it. But in any case, we're gonna get started. So obviously, we left off at the end of We Are One. So this is page 20. We left off of this page, and we've got Nuka bounding up to her, desperate for some attention. And the writer, the storyboard artist, Mr. Washer, he also seems to mention that now it's Kovu's story. He's the Lion King, which is interesting that he mentions that. A lot of people are interested in that. That's just, again, what he's doing is this is the first time I believe he's seeing this script when it was presented to him. So he's providing notes, commentary, and etc. as just kind of because this is his copy. But we're going to continue. We're going to get out of this, and we're going to continue with page 21 at the top with Nuka. So, Nuka. Zira, I caught you some field mice for your dinner. I left them Zira just walks past as if he wasn't there. Ignored again, Nuka shifts gears. 2 lions are fighting over a piece of meat. What should we do? Without stopping, let the winner eat. Very interesting. We didn't get that line, but you know what? It's cool because we can see that Zira a little more sadistic than she actually is in the film, even though she's pretty sadistic in the film. But this is a cool little addition. Continuing. Vitani sees Kovu and lights up. The tomboy has a major crush on the little guy, flirting. I know what you're thinking. That's kind of sus, as some people might say. However, here's the thing. Apparently, Vitani was actually not supposed to exactly be Kovu's blood, or it's still not Kovu's blood sister in this. I don't even know if she was actually supposed to be his sister or not. That's actually not clear so far yet, but we're gonna see. But just so you know, just a hint of things to come. There's more than this. I mean, there's going to be more than it just says right here that Tomboy has a major crush. There's going to be some more interesting things that I think people might get interested by. Let's just say that. Anyway, we're going to continue. Even in this section. Vitani. Hey, Kovu, want to fight? But Zira dumps her son roughly and swats him. Vitani's eyes go wide and she shuts up. This never happens. That's interesting. Zira turns on Nuka and slaps him hard. Whack. The disapproval hurts more than the pain. You were supposed to be watching him. It's not his fault. Zira wheels on Kovu and snarls, which means turn back and snarls on him. He retreats further as Zira closes in. Zira, what were you doing? What have I told you about them? And then Kovu, I'm sorry, Mother. She didn't seem so bad. I thought we could be... So this is the scene. Friends. She completes that thought. You thought you'd get to the daughter, and Simba would welcome you with open arms? How stupid, in parentheses. What an idea. And then suddenly, the world slams on its brakes. Zira freezes, her mind overdrive. We can practically see the light bulb go off in her head. It's cool. How brilliant. What an idea. She turns on her child. Kovu flinches, but now Zira is like a schizo. I can't believe it says this. It's like a schizo mom. Yeah. Suddenly she's all lovey-dovey, a switch that makes our flesh crawl. You brilliant child. No wonder Scar chose you. You have the same conniving mind that made him so powerful. He knew it was your destiny to become just like Scar. Again, this is a little bit different than what she says. So that's interesting. She scoops up Kovu again and takes him to the top of, and we have a name for it, Throne Rock. There you go, guys. If you guys want to know what Zira's name for her throne area is called, besides the termite mound, Throne Rock. A pyramid-shaped growth with a series of outcroppings. I don't know if this has changed, but yeah. We've got an actual physical name for it now. Wow. Anyway, Zira's place is at the very top, and the outsider pecking order descends beneath her. Nuka is sulking on his platform right next to Zira, second in command. Interesting. Zira takes her perch up on top and looks to Nuka at her side and kicks him off. This is interesting. Wow. He goes down bouncing. Ow, off a rock. Oof, ricocheting in a thorn bush. Yow! He lands in a heap at the bottom, staring up at Kovu being placed in his spot. He scowls. Oh, this is interesting. We don't get this. He scowls as... Okay, yeah. He scowls, and we're going to go to the next page. I don't know what... Probably stage directions and stuff. I now see a path to retribution. Here comes my lullaby. Kovu wants to protest. Hush, my little one. You must be exhausted. Now, before I get into my lullaby, there's a thing I should mention is that, believe it or not, you're going to see it eventually. The hyenas are listed in the song, and see how it says right here, some of the lyrics may need to be altered. They are marked with a character. They are marked with that because originally the hyenas were supposed to be in the script, and they are in earlier versions. I know that from ones I've seen pages of, like a page or two of. Now, the cool thing is this. They were supposed to sing in the song, and you'll see their lines that also had to change, and you'll see where they are. It's very interesting. So they're listed as in the song, but they're not really. It's listed as where they would have been in the previous script, but they have to change the lines, if that makes sense. But we're gonna kind of go through my lullaby again. I try to sing a little bit, not really. I don't want to be too cringe on you guys about this, but sleep, my little Kovu. Let your dreams take wing. One day when you're big and strong, you will be a king. And then Kovu, frightened, good night. Good night, my little prince, Zira. Tomorrow your training begins, which has changed because in the movie, in the final version, she says your training intensifies, which is actually better line, so I like that they changed that. And then here we go, we're getting into my lullaby. It's a twisted ballad that outlines her evil plans. I've been exiled, persecuted, left alone with no defense. When I think of what that brute did, I get a little tense. But I dream a dream so pretty that I don't feel so depressed, 'cause it soothes my inner kitty, and it helps me get some rest. The sound of Simba's dying gasp, his daughter squealing in my grasp, his lioness's mournful cry, that's my lullaby. So, again, this is kind of the same song, but I'm going to keep going through it. Now, the past I've tried forgetting, and my foes I could forgive. Trouble is, I know it's petty, but I hate to let them live. And then now going to page 24. And this was originally Shenzi's line, but it changed, obviously, to Nuka, which is interesting. So you found yourself somebody who chased Simba up a tree. Oh, the battle may be bloody. This is back to Zira. But that kind of works for me. The melody of angry growls, a counterpoint of painful howls, a symphony of death, oh my. And then it's interesting, because usually at the end of this in the film, the final version, she says, that's my lullaby, but it's in this, it's Shenzi and Banzai that say, that's her lullaby, which is interesting change. So these are lyrics, again, the fact that this is incest-free script, you can see where the incest problem happened over here, with this lines. Scar is gone, but Auntie's still around. So she was originally not his mother, I don't exactly know what was going on, but yeah, I think Zira was going to be Auntie Bianca, is what her original name was, believe it or not. And, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, so Auntie's still around to love this little lad. So she changes that, which is pretty funny. Till he learns to be a killer, just like his dear old dad. And then it's funny because they change. This line is, Scar is gone. This is how it goes in the film, though. Scar is gone, but Zira's still around to love this little lad till he learns to be a killer with a lust for being bad. But instead of this, they were actually thinking of changing it to just like his old stepdad, which doesn't really have a good melody at all to it. So I again, if they're changing this because of the incest problems and stuff, yeah, I agree with that. And then back to Shenzi. Sleep. This is interesting. Sleep, you tasty morsel. Precious little thing. Which is different because this is going to change to Nuka's line, where in the film it's, sleep, you little termite. Precious little thing. So changes. And then Banzai, who this line is interesting too. One day when you're entree-sized, which does not really have that great of a ring to it. So it changes to one day when you're big and strong, which is what this is what Vitani sings. And then this one's pretty much the same. You will be a king. It's back to Zira. Pounding of the drums of war, the thrill of Kovu's mighty roar, the joy of vengeance, testify. But again, these are just in the updates, obviously. Nuka and Vitani. I can hear the cheering. Kovu, what a guy. So these are all the same, but changed obviously from the hyenas. And this page is gonna take a while to go through. But yeah. Payback time is nearing, and then our flag will fly against a blood-red sky. That's my lullaby. So yeah, again, very different from what we got in some instances, but also there's some of the same, some interesting things that you can see where the hyenas were placed. As I'll go back for 1 second, you can see the hyenas had roles in the songs, which is very cool to see. But yeah, we're gonna. This is gonna take a while. I'm just gonna do this how I think it should be read with the notes. There's a lot of notes on this slide. But we're gonna see what this says right here. So we're gonna, before we get to that theme, this is actually all. So we're gonna actually, after that song, we hold on to our evil plan as we go through a montage of two young cubs growing up in very different worlds. This is where it gets interesting. We were supposed to see a progression of Kovu and Kiara growing up, which is very cool. And I mean, there's so much to go into here. This is going to take probably a little while to explain all this, and sorry, still getting over a cold, but and analyze it. But we're gonna take a step here. It says not real time. We need a gimmick to make it work as a montage. So interesting. So again, it's not real time. Again, it's over the years. Theme, they're growing up. Sub-theme, how do they differ? So these are the goals he's writing down. Songs by Tom Snow. Hopefully, Mark Waters composes. Compose something. Did Olympics. I don't. If you guys know what that means, let me know. But that's interesting because Tom Snow, Mark Waters, who I know about. Now getting into growing up, music under the growing up, so there's going to be music playing during it, and it's going to be a combo of We're One. I don't know what this is, Zero song? Interesting. Zira song. A lullaby. Okay. Or no, Zira song, lullaby. Oh, man. So, I don't know. And then it just says here that, again, it's kind of all. As time goes. Oh, wow. As time goes by is another. Maybe that Zero song a lot as time goes by. I'm probably again. This is all jumbled, so it's very hard. But I again, maybe you guys can piece together what that's supposed to mean. We're gonna not spend too much on that, but we're gonna get into this. So it's interesting because they were actually gonna experiment more 3D/flat stuff in this more than they ever did. And right here you can see the notes for 3D flat, and then Act 2, scene directions, etc. So we're gonna get into this though. A montage starts out with Kovu training in the Outlands. Just a little cub. Kovu. This is again Kovu training in the Outlands. Cub. Just a little cub. Kovu is being drilled through an obstacle-like course, leaping from rock to rock. Vitani drives him past exhaustion. Again, just some like alternate notes of how the scene could go. Nuka knocks an object. Nuka hogs it. Anyway, he makes it through. Ends up panting in front of Zira. She beams. Nuka scowls. Vitani forces the little guy on in spite of his fatigue. Toughen up. Nuka knocks him. Aisha in the Pride Lands. Cub. So we're switching to Aisha now. Who's Kiara. Still a little cub as Simba sits with her, overlooking their kingdom. He has a loving paw on her shoulder as he gestures everything the light touches, but Aisha is looking at the outlands and the world beyond the light, Shonala. So she probably would come up behind them as she notices that. Very cool. Okay, moving on. Kovu fighting in the Outsiders. Kid, so we're getting older. He's grown, reaching lion puberty. It's interesting that says that. He's circled by 4 outsiders and they attack in training battle. Kovu reacts like a warrior, kicking, snarling, biting away at his opponents. They're good. He's better. It's a school of hard knocks. He's toughened and Zira nods approvingly. Nuka knocks him. So we're still talking about Nuka. So going from cub to teen, we're going to go to sequences. Back to Aisha. Kid. Aisha has grown up too. She looks longingly at a group of female lionesses all her own age, learning to hunt. Every time she takes a step to join them, these other lionesses, who, again, characters, lore, Zazu is there to protect her, in quotes. She gives up, heading back to Pry Rock, but as she does, she watches the others learning to hunt. She sighs. Her day will come, someday, Shonala. So she probably appears and is like, Again, Nala was supposed to have I feel like Nala might have had a bigger role here in understanding Aisha's problem. I don't know. Anyway, go back to Kovu. Kovu, teen. He's a full-fledged teenager now. Wrong. Muscled up and impressive. He's alone, removed, scarfing down an entire leg of antelope. He's huge and he eats with the appetite of a gladiator. You've got to be pumped up. Yeah. You'll understand why he looks like this in a second. Actually, if you go back to... Yeah, we'll understand in a second. If we show him eating, we make him look bad. That's the color he's supposed to be at this... that's the color he's supposed to be at this point in the story. Huh. Interesting. I don't exactly remember. I'm trying to think. Again, this is late. It's the time. I wonder if... I don't exactly know what that note means. If you guys know, timestamp and let me know, because that's interesting. That note. Okay, moving on. Nuka watches jealously, gnawing on an old bone. He looks to Zira, who just rolls her eyes in disgust. Nuka snaps and grabs for the meat. Kovu retaliates, swift, savage, a 2-second scuffle, and Nuka yelps and slinks away. Vitani, however, is looking at Kovu with, this is interesting, lust-filled eyes. Here we go. She likes what she sees in this blooming line. Purr. Kovu hunkers down again, forced to fight for even his dinner. And then right here in circle, Nuka fails to knock him. So, as we see, he's getting stronger. Aisha sleeping in the cave, teen. The pride is together. Simba and Nala snuggle closely, arms intertwined in an embrace of love. Timon and Pumbaa snore lightly in the corner. Aisha opens her eyes and moves to the mouth of the cave. She's grown into a beautiful princess. She stares at the horizon beyond. She takes in a deep breath, knowing in her heart, soon. Interesting, Shonala. I don't know about that. Alright. Kovu and Aisha in separate worlds. As the song, which was talked about at the beginning, builds to its climax, they stare at the common moon, draping ivory lace light over the land. She's surrounded by love. He's surrounded by rage. Both know their destiny lies somewhere out there. The song ends, and as we hold on to the 2 images, they morph into chalk drawings on Rafiki's tree at night. The guru baboon is humming Squash Banana, so that's interesting. We don't get that. As he draws, it's easy to recognize the hieroglyphs of his art. Pride Rock, Aisha on one side of the dry gulch, Kovu on the other. Rafiki is drawing a giant circle around all of the lands. A little empire building here. A little funny comment. But he runs out of pigment. He turns the gourd over, empty. No way to finish the painting, now framed in a broken circle. Very poetic, man. He studies it for a minute, understanding dawns. With his left hand, he smears away the image of Aisha. His left palm is coated in golden chalk. With his right, he erases the drawing of Kovu. His palm now coated in rust, he rubs the 2 hands together, mixing the chalk into one, and uses that to complete the circle. The pride lands are one brought to the whole by 2 young cubs. and this is what interesting, the elimination of the shades of Romeo and Juliet. So again, it was supposed to be based on that, but he's noting that. Rafiki begins to laugh as he scales the tree. He emerges through the canopy and stares into. He happily. He happily rubs them out. Man, that's that. This guy has some jokes. I'm not gonna even explain that. But yeah, funny joke. He happily. Yeah, I'm not even gonna talk about that. But you guys can laugh at that one. And that's messed up and funny. The starry night. A billion stars twinkle. Somewhere up there, the Mufasa constellation shines. Rafiki bellows. I can't even. But Mufasa, it is time. Lightning cracks and thunder rolls. Wind picks up, bringing with it change. Here we go. Exit Pry Rock. Dawn. Simba paces the jutting precipice, fretting. Rafiki and his staff on one side, Nala on the other. Interesting. I'm gonna go through this. I love how this says voice of reason. Nala, Simba, she's growing up. You can't protect her from life. Simba, I'm trying to protect her from death. I couldn't bear to lose her too. Now, you guys in the fandom, you can either consider this part right here. I couldn't bear to lose her too. I wonder if anyone's going to use that for evidence of a particular lion cub. And if you're in the fandom, I know what you're talking about. But he probably means Mufasa. Let's be honest. And almost 100%. But, that's pretty good evidence if you want to argue your case for the other way, too. So that's pretty funny. I couldn't bear to lose her, too. King Simba, Aisha must go on her first hunt, alone. It is her rite of passage. Great. She's been kept from learning. How logical. I love how it's like real, like, Rafiki. They are our one true hope. He climbs up trees. So that's what he's talking about there. I'm just trying to read the notes before we keep continuing. Again, does Simba hate Aisha? Does he want her to fail? When we get to this point where it says, yes, he knows. So is he, like, what's his problem? Again, I love how he's, like, reading this and seeing the issues with it. He sighs heavily, nodding. Of course, there's just one thing. Do you think she's ready? This little dynamic, like, of course she is now. Ronaldo or Rafiki lock eyes, silently deciding the best course of action. Lie. And this fact of this is Nala and Rafiki hate Aisha too. Do we see a pattern here? So, like, what is their problem? Why are they, like, so against her? Like, it's interesting. I love his little, like, comments that are very valid. Rafiki / Nala. Of course, absolutely. So that was that nodding. Okay. That little picture drew. The Outlands, morning. Zira, you are ready. We pull back to see her eyes dancing with delight. Nuka is glowing, glumly. Vitani is nearly salivating in lust. My God. Yeah, it's in the script. They're all staring at Kovu. Sitting upright and proud like a Spartan warrior, he's grown into a handsome stoic lion. A lion version of Pocahontas. This guy is hilarious. Pocahontas is Kokum. How lovable. Okay. the way it says stoic lion. Anyway, the perfect soldier, the perfect weapon. Zira circles him. Eye shellacking every muscle, tooth, and claw, searching for weakness, finds none. You have the same blackness in your soul Scar had. Suddenly, she lashes out, whacking Kovu hard across the cheek, a pile driver punch. He barely flinches, biting back any response. Zira beams. But immune to pain. Good. What is your destiny? Kovu spits back the lessons that have been drilled into his brain over time. I will avenge Scar, take his place in the Pride Lands. Yes, and what have I taught you? Simba is the enemy. I must kill him. So it's different because of what it is. And what must you do is what she replies in between this and the actual final version. So that's interesting. Moving on. Zira beams. The outsiders roar in approval. A mob thirsty for blood. Kovu just sits. He has no emotional input. He's a brainwashed thing, a Manchurian Terminator. And that's why it says, go ahead, make my day. And he's got this like look to him in these drawings. It's pretty funny. Good. This guy. The Pride Lands Day. We're on page. Okay. Aisha is surrounded by her father and the lionesses, Zazu, Rafiki, Timon, and Pumbaa. The entire pride has gathered. This is her moment of truth. Circled. Nala caresses heads with her daughter. Aisha looks to her father and Aisha, Daddy, you gotta promise to let me do this on my own. This is my chance to make my mark. Promise? Alright, I promise. I'm going to read this. Based on ignorance, opposition, and lies, she is untutored, unprepared, and set up for failure by her so-called family and friends. Boy, this is so heartwarming. I love this. It's so sarcastic. Love that comment. And then, who are the good guys in this story? Valid points. We're going to continue, though. She hugs him, then looks down the hill toward the herd of antelope. A smile creeps across her face. She nods. Now. Aisha heads down the hills. She slips and crunches into her rocks. This is interesting. Simba winces, gritting teeth. Nala rests a reassuring paw on his. Aisha just gets up and keeps on moving, intent on the hunt. She unknowingly passes too close to an ostrich. It panics and kicks. Aisha easily dodges, but Simba covers his eyes. He can't stand to watch his daughter in this danger. He nods surreptitiously to Timon and Pumbaa. They wink, nod, and off they go. Oh boy. So this is very similar, but there's a lot of differences. It's very cool. Valley Day. A lush canyon spanning forever. Aisha slinks low to the ground. She picks up an antelope from the herd, creeps in, and steps on a twig. Snap. The sound alerts the herd, and they surge into motion, a giant animal flood. Darn it, Aisha gives chase, and as she moves past the elephant graveyard, Nuka and Vitani are wandering. So as she moves past the elephant graveyard, Nuka and Vitani are, so it's going to zoom in there. Nuka and Vitani are wandering the wastelands, weaving between the sulfur geysers and steaming holes. Creepy and terrifying. Branches have been laid out across the thermal vent, and the two outsiders hover around, waiting patiently. Gosh, okay. Here's where this guy also starts ripping apart the logic of this. This is great. Where's the irony, the secrecy, the plotting, the betrayal, the goal of power? Is Nuka driven by anything, or Vitani, or Kovu? Where is Zira? Is revenge all she wants? So he's asking a bunch of questions that we still have not gotten answered exactly, which is kind of true. Nuka, I don't know why we have to be here. If Kovu is so special, why does he need us? I never even had a chance. Vitani rolls her eyes. Boom, the geyser erupts like a mini volcano, igniting the branches like torches. That's it, come on. They have fire. They have fire. Animals are scared of fire. Nature? Question mark? Underline? I mean, valid point. Yeah, it's not really that logical, is it? She snatches a branch in her mouth and runs on. Nuka hesitates, afraid of the fire, then sees Vitani's judgment till glare and grabs the other branch, heading for the Pride Lands, where Aisha crouches. She ducks and covers, staying close to the herd that charges through a creek, while Timon and Pumbaa follow her, running recon. They scoot, hide, and belly crawl like combat soldiers running a secret mission to keep her from harm. Timon actually gets caught up in it. Jeez. Tango Charlie Alpha, what's her position? And it's interesting because he wanted to be changed to Tango Valentine Alpha, make it an in joke. Might as well, because it's kind of stupid, and he agrees with it. Pumbaa taking stock of his posture. Upright, head turned slightly to the left. So it's actually different because it says upright, tail erect, head turned slightly to the left. Timon rolls his eyes and the two creep after Aisha, who is circled in front of the herd. She closes in as they approach, but she's never learned to stalk and kicks a few loose stones. They clatter. The herd bolts in the other direction. No! She knows she's a seriously lousy hunter, but sprints after the antelope as the herd surges past. And that is where we are going to stop, obviously, for this video. Now, lots of interesting things in this. I can't wait to see what you guys think was interesting. I really enjoyed this. Actually, I did quickly get, like I said, I've quickly gone through the script briefly before, but this was actually, for again, these are my first time going in depth into it, and I mean, I noticed so many cool things with this. In particular, and I sure I noted them in the actual video. But anyway, that's it for today. Please like and sub, click that bell for notification, especially if you want to see the rest of the series. And I'll see you guys later. And yeah, feel free to leave a comment too if you're interested in anything stuck out to you, if you have any questions. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next part that should be up next week. All right, thank you.